For this video to help you, we must first go back to early 2022. I was 18 months post-breakup and I was finally accepting that my ex wasn't coming back. I was still hung up on the breakup, but I was functional and doing okay. I begun dating again and have no fling, or 10. I had convinced myself that I was fully over my ex and I tried dating a little more seriously. However, what was about to transpire showed me that I wasn't anywhere near over my ex and I was unknowingly rebounding. How can one rebound 18 months post-breakup? I'm glad you asked. Rebound relationships are very little to do with time between relationships and more to do with where one is emotionally. I had accepted the situation with my ex, but somewhere deep down in the prehistoric part of my brain was a voice whispering to me, "You still love her and no one will ever compare to her." Nonetheless, I gaslighted myself into thinking I was fine and I began seeing other women. I was feeling and doing great, or so I thought. Life was good. I was traveling, having fun, this channel was growing, I had more one-to-one breakup clients than I knew what to do with, and I found myself in bed with this beautiful woman that was really into me. On one fateful night, however, we're fooling around and getting naked. All was right with the world, but all of a sudden my brain decided to fuck me over. As she was approaching me in some rather sexy lingerie, thoughts of a similar encounter with my ex consumed me and I almost started to cry. As I lay there, stark bollock naked and almost in tears, thoughts of my ex, our relationship and the breakup consumed me. It was then I knew I was rebounding and that I wasn't even close to being emotionally over my ex. Sadly, so many of us go through this. I have lost count of how many of my one-to-one breakup clients have gone through this exact scenario, and it can feel like we're back on day one of the relationship. Have you ever wondered if a rebound relationship is good for the dumpee? Did you start dating after your breakup and found yourself unable to emotionally connect with your partner? Are you forever comparing the old with the new? In this video, we're going to go on a journey of the pros and cons of rebound relationships for the dumpee, and I thought it might be interesting to compare this with the dumper's journey when they rebound. Spoiler alerts, they're mostly a bad idea for the dumpee in the long run and the dumper, despite having some immediate and short-term advantages. My name is Nick and this is The Love Fix. If you need more than this video can provide today, there are links to my new book, Breaking Up With Your Breakup, A Counterintuitive Remedy for Heartbreak, and my one-to-one breakup recovery coaching services in the description below. Okay, let's get straight into it. A breakup is the same for a dumper and dumpee, at least in the beginning phases. Both want to ensure their emotional survival, and the easiest way to do that is to follow the old aged axiom of get under someone to get over someone. For the dumper, more often than not, they are trying to validate their decision to leave you by getting on the dating apps, or maybe they already had someone lined up, ready to replace you. Finding someone new quickly helps them avoid the breakup pain and ensures their emotional survival. For the dumpee, trying to find someone new soon after the breakup is often a show of defiance, but also to ensure their emotional safety, because loneliness is a powerful motivator. John, a divorcee after a 30-year marriage and a breakup recovery client of mine, was unceremoniously dumped by his ex-wife. He admitted to me in a recent one-to-one coaching session that he started dating new women simply for the company because he couldn't stand the feeling of being alone. He also had a sense of "I'll show you" towards his ex, and he would date any woman that smiled at him. He had no romantic attachment for the women he was dating, because how does one get over a 30-year marriage in 6 months and have the capacity to attach to someone new? It's commonly accepted that rebound relationships are a bad idea for the dumper and dumpee, but there are some advantages. For the dumper, it's an emotional painkiller. Anyone who has spent a significant amount of time with you doesn't just lose all feeling for you. Their feelings may have dropped to a level where a romantic relationship with you no longer works for them, but they don't all of a sudden hate you. There will be a large period of adjustment. They once confided in you and depended on you. You hugged them when they were down and you held their hand when they were scared. All of a sudden that is gone. Despite it being their decision to leave, the comfort and security of a relationship is very powerful, and most people will do almost anything to fill that emotional hole. Rebounding can fill that hole quite effectively, helping the dumper to avoid the initial shock of single life. This can happen to the dumpee too. I know most of you listening to this just want your ex back, but I am willing to bet many of you have scrolled through your contact list weighing up your emotional painkillers, looking at the people from your past who may just give you a date to help soothe your pain, or looking at the people that you've just met and hoping that they will hang out with you and give you some kind of relief. 6 months post breakup 4 years ago, I convinced myself I was over my ex. I started dating a woman who was also fresh out of a breakup. This took place before I was naked in bed with another woman almost crying. We were perfect for each other. Perfect in that we were both hurting and outsourcing pain to each other. It's not a great long-term strategy and it failed in spectacular fashion. However, it was the comfort and hard lesson we both needed. It gave both of us a respite from the breakup pain, but most importantly, it taught both of us that we just wasn't ready. I called time on it and we parted ways peacefully. Like John the divorcee, I just wanted someone to put a band-aid over my wounds, essentially treating the symptoms and not the cause. This happened to me another 3 times over a 2-year period. That's right. I rebounded 5 times before I was ready to have a healthy relationship. The only cure was to admit my medicine of choice became the disease and it was time to change the medicine. But Nick, how can you keep rebounding over a span of 2 years? A good question. As I mentioned at the start of the video, rebound relationships are very little to do with time and everything to do with where you are emotionally. I was still fucked in the head and hadn't fully dealt with my breakup. This is where rebound relationships become a massive disadvantage. Every time I took respite in the arms of a woman to soothe my breakup pain, it either knocked me back 2 steps or it fixed me in place and I became stuck. After each subsequent rebound, my pain became worse and thoughts of my ex grew even larger. 2 years post breakup, I'm in bed with a beautiful woman almost in tears because the relief I was seeking was in the pain I was so desperately trying to avoid, not in the arms of another woman that I could not emotionally connect with. This rings true for the dumper too. I know most of you will be calling bullshit, but when you've dealt with as many breakup cases as I have, one's perspective changes after one sees the same pattern hundreds of times. You see, I don't just coach dumpees through their rebounds and breakups. At least 30% of my one-to-one clientele are dumpers who feel they made the wrong decision. They rebounded and end up on the phone with me in a one-to-one breakup recovery session, feeling like they are the ones who have been dumped, all because they never took the time to heal their wounds or to reconsider the breakup with their ex. I have been on both sides of this fence as a dumper and dumpee, and rebounding has never worked long term. It certainly can have short-term advantages, but short-term gain often breeds long-term pain. I guess the take-home point here is this. Rebound relationships are like junk food. They look and taste great in the moment, but too much of it makes everyone vomit and have diarrhea. The long-term ramifications are, we all become fat and unhealthy due to too much junk food. In the context of a rebound relationship, we become emotionally obese. Nothing but empty emotional calories devoid of any real emotional nourishment needed for a real committed and sustainable relationship. We either end up like my client John, who by the way is making great progress in his coaching sessions, or we end up like I did, 2 years into a breakup and about to cry in front of a beautiful woman wanting to have sex with me. And that's all I've got for today. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit like and hit subscribe. Any comments, please leave them below and tell me what you think about this video. Tell me about your rebound experiences. And of course, if you need my help, all my details are in the description below. I would love to talk to you one-to-one and let's get you through this breakup. As always, you're going to be okay. I promise you will be fine. And I will see you on the other side.